We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on DJ Turner, Michigan cornerback, absolutely destroying it at the combine, running the 4.2 40. Absolutely amazing in every other drill. Looks super fluid out there, and the best thing is it matches exactly what you see on the tape. You see his play speed, you see his change of direction skills, his oily, fluid hips, those quick feet to mirror and match, which is amazing to see because sometimes these players blow it up at the combine, but they don't have that instincts and technique on the film to match it up. But DJ Turner plays with instincts, plays with technique. He has solid ball skills. He gets physical. He's a little bit undersized, which can be a little problematic at times. He can get a little bit overpowered. He can miss some tackles, but at least he is also a willing tackler. Nice to see him playing in man and zone. He can mirror match anyone with his athletic skills, but he also has those instincts to read route concepts in zone, understand his responsibility. He maintains his leverage throughout. And I think one thing you could see is him move to the slot at the next level because he's a solid slot player, but he can play on the outside, inside. I think he has that vertical speed, a little bit limited lengthwise, which will maybe concern some teams. But with that amount of athleticism, it's not a big worry for me overall. Got DJ Turner at the top of the screen. Just watch his feet on this. This is just amazing footwork. Love that he stays square, under control, and then gets physical at the top of the route to maintain his positioning right here. But just look, his ability to mirror and match is so special. He gives you this mirror motor technique, maintaining his leverage to the inside. Doesn't want to give that up, but he also wants to keep this cushion for as long as possible. Lets the wide receiver get up, and then once he eats up that cushion and he starts to, work to the inside, he gets his hands on, gets physical, good placement, good timing to get back over the top, stay over where he can make a play on the inside, and then he ends up undercutting this too and getting the interception. Kind of hard to see there, but he ends up with the interception. So nice ball skills there to finish. I wouldn't say he has like elite ball skills, but they're good enough to make plays at the catch point. But really, it's just the footwork. He stays square, he stays under control, and then puts himself into position to make a play. Just love when a player's athleticism shows at the combine and it matches up with the tape. That's DJ Turner all the way. DJ Turner at the bottom, matched up versus Quentin Johnston, actually, and you can just see the play speed on this play. Starts off with good footwork, good hip fluidity to get out of the transition, and this is just pure speed. Look at him get out of this, get out of that pedal, good footwork, stays square, and then once he sees Johnston commit vertically, which, Johnston runs vertically a lot, so he can tell, he stays over the top. His positioning, he gets open a little bit late, he lets him eat up this cushion, and Johnson has a running head start. Turner's just flipping his hips open, and he's still able to stay high on the upfield shoulder. Super impressive play speed right there from Turner. Definitely matches that 4.27 or 4.26, I think, official now, that you saw at the combine. Great to see Turner at the top playing his zone, showing that he's probably looking like he's a corner pre-snap, but he ends up clouding this, getting down to the flat. He's just reading number 2 the whole way. And once he sees number 2 quickly go out, he's going to cloud, get down, and just make a play. Now he's looking at the QB's eyes, sees that he's sticking that back foot, he's about to throw it, and you can see how quick his transitions are, his speed, that burst. And he's, would like to see him wrap up and finish. That's why I think his tackling technique needs a little bit of work, but he's still very willing to get these hits. He's not afraid of contact. We've seen him on that first play getting physical through the route stem, but also getting downhill, making these tackles. He could work on his technique and angles, though, wrapping up, but love to see the processing in zone. If you can play man, zone gives you that positional versatility, and then you can go to pretty much any team that can need him. Here's an example of Turner in the slot. He did this a little bit for Michigan, which I love the inside-outside versatility. We've seen him play man. We've seen him play zone. He can really do it all, which is a very important part in today's NFL, positionless football, being versatile, and just carrying a slot fade. This is a good player in 11 right here for TCU, Davis. He's a pretty explosive wide receiver, just makes big plays. He's fast as well, and he eats up that cushion. Turner's just able to flip those hips. Davis has a lot of momentum, already got that 5-yard sprint. Turner opens up and is able to just get in phase so easily. He's so smooth. Gets maybe a little grabby, which I think can be a problem of his at times, getting a little overly physical, getting some penalties, but it doesn't get called here. And just his fluidity, his lower body is such a nice flexion to it. It's really fun to watch. His athleticism just pops all over the tape in so many different ways. It's not just the speed, it's the change of direction, the hip fluidity, the ankle flexion, the lateral agility, the foot quickness, acceleration, just top tier stuff from DJ Turner. Another good example of Turner's ability to mirror and match at the top of the screen here. You can see the footwork, nice anticipation, good instincts. He just never takes himself out of the play, which I think is important. A lot of the time you see these fast guys, these super athletic guys, they just don't play with good technique. They don't stay under control. You can see he stays square. His footwork maybe could be a little better, like not crossing over, not getting too close, but he's so athletic he can match this at any time. And then he gets the hard stab to the outside. He plays it patient, and then he just matches it perfectly back to the inside, makes another play at the catch point, ready to get physical. I think, his limited arm length will, lead him to some trouble sometimes in press versus bigger guys, especially when he has to make plays at the catch point. That can be a definite problem when guys can body you out, know how to play their positioning, but his positioning is good enough with that athleticism to help him, be in position at good times. Turner at the top of the screen, just look at the speed. It's this pure speed to stay over the top. Like, he reads this so well. He understands when wide receivers are going to go vertically. Like, he gets out of his stance here. Good footwork. Nice working, like his little kick step. Almost looks like an offensive lineman in this position. And then once he sees the wide receiver commit, he opens up the hips very nicely. He stays patient just to match this, maintain his positioning. Very good mirror and match. You can see his feet are moving exactly with the receivers. And he's able to just open up, and stay over the top. Like, gets himself and uses the sideline to his advantage. He squeezes the receiver to the sideline, just gives him absolutely no chance from start to finish on this play, just from his technique at the beginning to absolutely amazing speed to finish it. Another example of Turner in zone. You get to see him open up his hips. He's quarters, and he's just reading number 2 the whole time. Like, this is really, really good stuff. Number 2 doesn't, if number 2 kept working vertically or worked to the, inside, he would just match the number 1 on the outside. But once he sees number 2 break to the outside around the 10-yard mark, he's just going to stick his foot in the ground and transition. And then, this is really impressive athleticism. He's completely zone turned right now at this angle and is able to just stick his foot in the ground, drop his weight, and instantly accelerate up the field. Almost gets the interception too. Would like to see him, work on his hands, because he has some dropped interceptions from what I saw, but he still makes these plays at the catch point, which is important. But just love seeing him process these route concepts. It's a big, big part of, the NFL game. If you can't process it, I don't care how athletic you are, it won't matter. But Turner has the combination of those both. Just here's a good example of Turner transitioning downhill, footwork to match. Love his ability. He really understands leverage. They're tight aligned, and once the number 1 works to the outside, takes sort of that arc release, he weaves to get back to his leverage right here. He really understands his positioning, his leverage, and then once it breaks to the out, he is transitioning very well here. You can see his anticipation. The route is breaking to the outside. He's going with it. He has great body lean and that acceleration to close, and he makes a play at the catch point again, which he knocks those balls out. Might not be the best with the hands to catch all the time, but he does a really good job of dislocating the ball, dislodging it, and really nice play there from Turner. Turner in the slot again. This time we get to see him play in the slot, but this time zone, running a cover 3, so he's a curl flat defender. He ends up getting, probably want to see him get a little wider here, because the number 1 does run and out, or get to the out, so he doesn't want to get out leveraged. He does get out leveraged to the flat, but he opens up those hips, and he's just reading the QB's eyes. Probably want to see him get a little more out to the flat, but he ends up opening up those hips, sees that he's going to try to throw it down the seam, so he just gets down field and almost gets the pick at the catch point. Just seeing, he's able to key and diagnose QB's eyes and drops. Doesn't play this rep perfectly, but you can just see the fluidity in his hips, opening him up, getting to his depth, and he has that range for sure. Turner at the bottom of the screen, he's a deep third corner. And this is a very impressive play because he's on the 2 receiver side. When you're the deep third corner, usually you're just matching over the top of a number 1. But when number 1 sinks like this, and they have 2 running the seam, he's cheating to the inside. He's expecting this already. You can tell by his leverage. He's kind of expecting the number 2 to get this seam route. And to be able to make this play over the number 2 on the quick seam, especially, when he goes a little bit to the inside, and he makes this play at the catch point, dislodge the ball again. He's very physical. He knows how to play through the hands to get that ball out. I really like that play from Turner. Not something you see a lot of corners do, especially at the college level. One thing Turner does really well is stay over the top and maintain his leverage. He uses his footwork, uses his hands, and he knows he has the speed to, if he does get beat, to recover, to get back in phase. But he just loves to get physical, uses his footwork well, good hand placement, and he just doesn't like to give free releases receiver. He loves to disrupt, which is important. I think a lot of time when you see these faster corners, they just rely on their athleticism a bunch. But Turner, very willing to get physical, make these plays at the catch point, make it very difficult on wide receivers. Textbook coverage at the bottom of the screen right here from Turner. Footwork, mirror and match, get into that outside hip pocket, feel the hip break or the hip sink and him break to the inside. Just match it, running with him step for step. Then he breaks out of the pocket, stay with your man, and he's just in perfect positioning the entire time. Just has such a great feel for routes, and when they're sinking their hips, he matches it perfectly. Love his athleticism. I feel like he's going to be a really solid early day 2 pick in my opinion. Here's Turner in the slot, off man coverage versus the number 2. Look at him weave to maintain this leverage to the inside. Just matches these wide receivers so well. Anticipates these routes. He sees that inside release. He matches instantly. Doesn't want to give up his leverage. Maintains exactly where he was pre-snap in his leverage. Then he gets this, he starts to set up his route once he gets up the cushion. And he's just feeling this the entire way. Gets his hands on, ready for the route break. You can tell the wide receiver ran this with a plan. Hard inside leverage. And then re-stem vertically to square him up. And Turner just in the perfect positioning, feels this the entire time. Love the instincts that he plays with. It's so awesome to see a corner that's running these 4-2s, but also has the instincts too in coverage. Really special stuff. Really, really special. Turner at the top of the screen in off-man coverage, has to get over this pick play, takes the perfect angle to get there right at the catch point to, if he had to dislodge this ball, I don't think he ends up dislodging it. The ball goes a little high, but he ends up hitting right at the catch point, which helps them not make the catch. You can see the burst to close, just ready for this concept. He sees this the entire way. He has his inside leverage, doesn't want to lose this, so he gets over the top of the pick route, the rub route, takes a perfect angle to the catch point to disrupt this. He's just a very disruptive player. It's a good word to describe him. Gets physical in press man. He has the technique. He can play off man. He can close. You can get him impressed because he has that speed to recover, carry vertically. He can do it versus big physical receivers like Quentin Johnston we've seen. And it's very, very special to watch. Turner at the top of the screen. This is the last play that I'm going to break down. We get to see him as a cover 2 corner in the flat. Good, really, really good job. You just see the transition, first of all, downhill. That's really special stuff. Look at his body lean right here. Look how quickly he's able to transition downhill. But he doesn't he leverages these routes well. You can see him in the cover 2, knowing they're going to try to throw this corner over the top, but he doesn't want to, instantly gain a bunch of depth because he doesn't want to give the free outlet and give up a bunch of yards, but he maintains a nice positioning between both routes. He knows he has the speed to get back over and help on this sort of smash concept, and once he sees Stroud commit down, he's already breaking on it, and he takes a good angle, gets a tackle here, the special, transitions, change of direction, the speed to close, but also understanding his positioning, his leverage in zone to, help take away 2 route concepts. It looks like this corner might be open, but he's starting to break. Once he sees this throw, he probably would have gained a little more depth if Stroud had held onto it for half a second as well. And he has that speed too to probably get to this. He had matched up against a lot of the best receivers in the country. His probably toughest matchup was Marvin Harrison Jr., but he actually did a pretty good job staying. Even though Harrison had a lot of catches on him, he stayed at least close in his coverage. Harrison just kind of used his body well, pushed off, got his positioning to beat him in certain situations, but it wasn't like he was giving up a ton of separation, which I think is important. If you're, not giving up a ton of separation, that usually leads to, future success, even if they're making catches, because he has the ball skills to make plays at the catch point, no matter his positioning. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.